Rising out of limitation. If we saw a person hold out his hand when he needed bread, and instantly a loaf of bread would appear in that hand, we should stand in great awe. This would seem to the Western mind to be a miracle contrary to nature. But, upon close study, we see that it is fully possible for everyone to achieve similar phenomena. We have everything that belongs to us. All is here, and we do not bring it from anywhere else. All is accomplished. We need only to project the acceptance, and it is ours to use. I have mentioned often the so-called fakirs in India who apparently throw a rope into the air, call a boy from the audience and have him climb up the rope. The boy usually disappears at the top, but sometimes, instead of disappearing, the boy will remain visible at the top of the rope. The fakir, in a seeming rage, climbs after the boy, cuts off his arms and legs, only later to repent and put him back together again. When we attempt to photograph these seeming events, nothing is recorded on the film. What happened? We have studied the phenomena and learned that there are 12 stages of hypnotic influence. The fakir can project the pictures so rapidly and definitely that the audience will accept them as reality. That started an entirely new field of research. Now, through the use of a certain ray, we can so irradiate a plot of ground that after 24 hours we can plant a kernel of corn, which will develop into a fully grown stalk with 2 completed ears upon it within 7 minutes. Another group has been able to develop a bearing grapefruit tree in 6 months, whereas it usually takes 6 years. Carrying on the experiment, we planted a kernel of corn in a plot of ground that had not been irradiated in this way to observe its growth photographically. Whereas the growth of the latter is at the rate of 9 million cells per second, the growth of the former is at the rate of 96 billion cells per second. All we have succeeded in doing is to accelerate nature. There has been no unnatural miracle about it. The same principle is involved as when the disciples said to the Master that there was need of food and that it was still 4 months till the harvest. Jesus said, "Look upon the fields, they are white to harvest." We have always pronounced that a miracle. But Jesus explained that it was no miracle and that the slow process we accept as natural is not natural. We, in our lack of progress, put nature back to where it responds to our limitations. Someone has told us that it takes 4 months to grow corn and 6 years to grow a grapefruit. Today it is known that if we release those limitations, nature springs into existence immediately. Now these experiments are expensive, and it is not known how soon they will prove to be practical for everybody. But we can envision that it will be. I can remember when aluminum was worth $450 per ounce. Today, it is a common product. The same thing takes place in every line of endeavor. Many of the great conditions have been in existence all along, but it takes people a long time to realize that they themselves are putting on the limitations. Usually, experimental work is done in the wrong way. We set up certain conditions, believing that they will accomplish certain results. Today, we are going to the result instead of the experiment, knowing first that it has all been worked out in nature and is in existence. You can leave a seed in a metal receptacle, and it will not germinate unless someone comes along who can present life to it. It is known today that there are people who can so project life that it will penetrate every substance. The moment the seed comes in contact with the life emanation that has been put forth, you can observe that vibration dropping right down to the heart of that seed where it begins the process of growth. There is a man on the Pacific coast who can germinate life in seeds to 90%, where before the percentage was only 30%. Experiments are being made with soil whereby production can be stepped up considerably more. We put the limitations on nature. Nature works in complete harmony with us, and that harmony is instantaneous when we allow the response to come forth. There is not a blade of grass, not a tree, not a flower in existence, but that it came into existence first through the projection of life from the individual. There is an artist who has made some remarkable experiments. He paints on his canvas the color he wants the plant before him to take on, and as a result, we have some of the most beautiful flowers. Then he can take a cactus and place it in a glass case. He sits before it and tells it that it is now protected and does not need its spines and should just let them drop off. Finally, the cactus loses its spines. We say that God grows the trees. God does, but it takes the expression emanating from the individual to start it into existence. We accomplish all things. First, the acceptance, then take away the barriers to natural progress by letting go of doubt, fear, and superstition, and then the fields are white to the harvest. It can be shown that Jesus knew every one of these conditions and was perfectly familiar with them. He did not hesitate to show all how they could do exactly as he did if they would let go of or forgive the limitations. Why do we carry these limitations with us? It is only through projecting our thoughts through a lower field where we can pick up and repeat them until we take a picture instead of realizing the fact.